Welcome back. Sometimes I'm not even sure how we can manage to get as lucky as we are today to talk to our very special guest. So we'll start with our standard question: who you, what's due, and why?
I'm Mayor Craig Morgan of the city of Round Rock, and I didn't hear the second question. I'm sorry, Xander, but I want to make sure I hear it.
What's due?
What's due?
Yeah, what do you
What
do?
do you do?
Oh, I serve as the mayor of Round Rock. I'm sorry, and then I'm a that's not my full time job. A lot of people think that as the mayor of Round Rock, it's our full time job, but I also serve as a lawyer in my private profession.
Interesting. And final question: why?
I grew up with a family where my mom and dad were very involved in the community and always made it a point that wherever I planted my roots, I would get involved. And one thing led to the other. And next thing you know, I'm the mayor of Round Rock.
All right. Can you give our audience a brief rundown on the basic demographics of Round Rock?
Uh, we're a highly educated community, very diverse. As you know very well, in our school district, we have, I think, about 97 different languages that are spoken. And we're a fast growing community right now. And so it's an exciting time, but at the same time, it can be a challenging time with all the growth that we have.
Is there anything going on currently in Round Rock that you'd like to tell our audience about?
Well, the big deal is next week we'll be celebrating our grand opening of the Kalahari Resorts. That's a $500 million resort that will bring about 1,000 jobs. And the timing couldn't be better because, as you know, with COVID-19, the industry that has been hurt the most is the tourism and travel industry. And so some of the people that have been laid off, can be potentially hired by Kalahari. And I know they've had a couple of job fairs and have been going full force to hire people. So that is probably the number one big thing that is really happening in Round Rock right now. We just had an election yesterday. Usually our elections are in May. So we had it on Tuesday, I'm sorry. And so we'll have two new council members joining us early December. And so that, those are the things happening. We kind of slowed down in November and December, but with COVID, who knows?
Is there anything else planned with the holidays coming up? Is the city going to celebrate in any specific way?
Yeah. We usually, our Christmas family night. I don't know if you've ever been to it, but it's a huge production that happens in downtown Round Rock. Obviously, with COVID, we're changing it up this year. I've not gotten the whole plan yet, but there will be some kind of celebration for our citizens to be able to enjoy, clearly in a safe manner.
All right. So I know the answer to this question, but why would you say that Round Rock is the best place in Texas or America to live?
Well, I just think it's a great city. I mean, it's one of the safest cities in America. Our public education system is bar none one of the best. When we go out and recruit companies to come to Round Rock, one of the number one questions we get asked is our public safety. Our public education system. And so, we're just a vibrant community and again, diverse. And I think what's really becoming really cool with Round Rock is that, people can live, work, and play right here in our city with the benefit of having, the stuff in Austin. And so there's a lot of things the list could go on and on. We got great trails, parks, but those are some of the top things.
All sorts of very good reasons and straight from the mayor himself, folks. But seriously, people, don't move here right now. We are full. we are at capacity. If you could wave your hand to make any one instant improvement to our city, like any one thing, what would it be?
I'd probably say probably transportation. That's our, we do a biannual survey, And usually our top complaint or where we struggle in our grading, we score above the national average every time in almost every category, but transportation. And as you know, it costs money. And so if I could wave the magic hand to provide enough roads and expansion in our roads, that's what I would probably say I'd do. Sounds boring, but it really would be important.
Yeah. Well, actually, while we're on the topic of like traffic and city infrastructure, is there any chance for getting a stoplight at the intersection of Rusk and Gaskell Road? Because that spot is a real mess during rush hour times.
You know what? That's a great question. I know exactly where you're talking about, right there by the Fellowship Church. You know, we're in the process of getting ready to expand Gaddis School Road as a 6-lane divided highway, and I believe that there is a light scheduled to be there. So it will come. It will come as we do our expansion. And Xander, first thing we're doing is the first phase of that expansion is from Redbud down to uh, uh, past the church. So it's coming.
Well, that's awesome. That pretty much runs straight through where I work at the HEB on Gas and Redbud. So yeah, that'll be
okay.
Awesome.
Good. I shop there. I don't know why I don't ever see, but maybe with all the masks, I don't really remember.
In what ways do you think that Round Rock is leading the way in municipal improvements?
Oh, I think we do a strategic plan every year, a 5-year plan, which is a short-term plan and a longer-term plan. And I think what we have done is that's one of the things I think that makes the city unique is that our infrastructure, we have really put a lot of focus on that. And so our utilities, our roads, our neighborhood roads, I mean, not just our, neighborhood streets. In the last 5-6 years, we've spent $30 million, maintaining them. We've started some funds for our park system out at Old Settlers. We have a fund for our indoor sports complex where when we get these fees, we put some of that money in a bucket, and it's strictly for maintenance and upkeep. And that's the most expensive thing to do. And so I think we've done a great job at that. Better than some cities. I travel all over the state, and I'll put our city's infrastructure against a number of cities. Now, do we have some areas we need to fix and work? Sure. And we're trying to work on those areas.
Like, sure, the highway needs expanding, but it's not like down in like downtown Austin where like the roads all going up around over this way. Like, definitely prefer these roads.
No doubt.
Yeah, given that the holiday season is probably going to come up really soon, do you have a wish list for future developments that aren't currently in the 5-year plan?
Yeah, I really, before COVID hit, there was a lot of talk for us to look at doing another indoor sports complex and another multi-purpose field out at Old Settlers. And 2 reasons for that. Number one, it allows more local use from our citizens because as we grow, we need it. And then it also puts us in a different stratosphere with tournaments that we bring in over the summer, which brings in more money to our city, and it's the least pressure on our services. So these people come in, they go have their soccer tournaments, they spend money, they stay in our hotels, and then they leave. But with the COVID, we've had to cut back pretty heavily on our budgets. And so that's something that would be my wish list. And then I'm ready for COVID to be over. I understand we've got to wear masks and do the right things, and I want us to do the right things. But, for someone like me that likes meeting people and talking to people, it's been pretty tough.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a sentiment everybody's sharing right now. Pretty much from the start of my show, I've been very clear that Round Rock is my home, and I'm damn proud of it. So, does the city of Round Rock offer any incentives to TV or film productions to shoot or locate here?
Yeah, that's a great question. We don't at the moment. Our economic development efforts. We don't have a big what's the word? That hasn't reached us. It seems like some of the other cities that are around us. They've done some filming. We've had a few things, I think, but maybe as we get our downtown, continue to develop it, that may be an opportunity in the future.
All right. So, in the aggregate, what does Round Rock offer that people just can't find anyplace else?
I think more than we could build trails for days. Our citizens, I believe, love our trail system, and so I would put our trail system and our parks up against a number of people. I mean, most cities all have parks and they have trails, and I'm proud that during COVID we kept our trails open because we felt like our citizens needed that avenue to be able to get out. And I'm almost positive some of the surrounding communities that shut their trail system down, they came up and enjoyed ours. We're doing some new development in Old Settlers, more of a passive park area over there because people have just come out and really use it, and not just for the sports aspect of it. And so, I think just the quality of life, that we offer. I mean, it's being a safe city. I think that's one of the things that really intrigues people. When all the racial injustice was going on and the protest, we were fortunate we didn't have much of that, and I think it's attributed a lot to who our police chief is and what he's done with the PD. And they have, our voters passed a bond back in 2013, and we built a $29 million public training facility, and so our police are constantly training to make sure that they do the things right.
Well, speaking of the police department, as an inaugural member of the Teen University program, I mentioned at a city council meeting that the Round Rock Police Department really needed to up their game on giving tours. So have they made any progress in that area, or is the fire department still making them look like a bunch of "you can't play with our toys" type of nerds?
Well, I hope they did. Unfortunately, you're the only class that's come through right now from the team. We want to continue that, but with COVID, we haven't been able to. So we haven't gotten to see the other feedback since then. So, but I did know the chief heard you. That's what I do know.
Well, if they up their tour game, then we shall see. It was a really good program, and I hope that once COVID situation gets more settled, I really hope it can come back because it was very educational for that time of life.
Oh, we will. There's no doubt that will be a program that we will continue once we can do it.
Yeah.
And as you know, it's a lot easier doing that in person than by Zoom. You wouldn't get the same benefit.
The fire department lets you spray down practice fires and stuff. I'm just saying the fire department was pretty sweet, and the police department still.
Yes.
Sorry. So earlier you mentioned the election this week, and I believe that big congratulations are in order because you just won 100% of the vote in Tuesday's election.
That's a.
It's a very impressive.
Those are lucky times.
All right, now the big scary question. Tell me why I shouldn't run against you for mayor of Round Rock in 3 years.
Well, you would win, so I don't know that I don't know that I could tell you not to. The first time I ran, I had an 18-year-old run, and he got, I think, almost 10% of the vote. So that's a great question. I would never, when people talk about, challenging me in city council races and potentially mayor races, I'm not going to ever be the guy that says, no, you don't need to run. That's just part of it. I told a news reporter today that, this seat's not my seat. It doesn't say Craig Morgan's seat. It's the people's seat. And I'm one that will accept results of an election and move on. And so I would never tell you to. So if that's something you really want to do, I'm sure not going to be the person trying to talk you out of it. Now, I would hope you wouldn't, but
Well, yeah, I still got a TV show to launch and run, so I think you're safe for now.
Thank you.
So, does the city of Round Rock have an official goodwill type ambassador position, like someone who exemplifies the Round Rock spirit? Because if it does, I might know a guy.
Yeah, they, we have I will say we have a PR team that does a lot of that. I'm probably the biggest cheerleader for the city being in the role I'm in. But we have a great PR team, and we have, I think for a city our size, we have about 6 employees dedicated to public relations, and they do a great job. And we win awards all the time across the state. And I think that's something really important. You mentioned that. I mean, you kind of joke about the goodwill factor, but if you're not telling your story, no one's going to tell it for you.
I guess it's a good thing I'm getting this out there. It's a good thing I have you on the show.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
Well, I appreciate you responding back to us. So just one final question that we're asking all of our guests this season. If you had a magic wand or monkey's paw or deck of many things or some other magic item that would allow you to change 2 things about the world, what would you change?
Well, the first thing I would change is kind of how we are right now as the world. We neighbors can't talk to neighbors. We can't agree to disagree. And it's just gotten so divisive and ugly. I mean, I've seen neighbors in my own neighborhood that, especially during this election time, I mean, if you have a certain sign up, they don't want to talk to you. And, that's what makes America so great. I don't want, as the famous saying says, if you're always the smartest one in the room, change rooms. And so if I could do anything, I would just try to change people back to, hey, I saw a meme that said, humankind, be both. And so that would be probably, the first thing I would change, and just, that remember that we're all Americans. I mean, we're one nation under God, and it didn't say, 5 nations. We're all Americans. And so that would be the number one thing I would change is just, and I know there's great people in America, and there's great people in our city, and people doing everything they can. And then, I think that this, with COVID-19, there's a lot of suffering right now. There's families suffering. When this first went on, our small businesses in downtown Round Rock, you couldn't get in parking down there. And then when COVID hit, it was a ghost town. And we started a program immediately to help our small business community. But they've got families that have to pay bills. Our Round Rock Service Center has increased its, the demand on them has gone through the roof. And so I would reverse the suffering that many, many families are going through, depression, addictions right now. I mean, they're all, abuse. When the schools were out, that was one of our public safety's biggest concern is child abuse, because usually those are reported by teachers. And so I think those are the 2 things I'd change right now. I love sitting with people when they don't agree with me. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. Matter of fact, I try to learn something from them.
All right. That's very wise. Thank you, Mayor Morgan, for joining us today. And everybody, we'll be right back.
Thank you.